community, I think it's so many people coming together, just different businesses, different walks of life coming together to work together to build something that's going to offer a safe place for a family, a place to call home for a family, which everyone, I feel, should have that feeling.
When I come here, I'm with a group of Christian women who enjoy being together. We support one another, we laugh together, we cry together, we teach each other about how to quilt, and we tell stories about where we started with our quilting. We like taking care of other people and making other people happy. And joy, I think, that we get to share, then we like to gift it to other people, so that they can also have some joy in what we make.
Good. My daughter, 18 years ago, was selected to be participant in a Habitat home, and I was able to help her build her home and see the impact it had upon her and her young son. She was a single mother at the time, and she still lives in a Habitat home in Madison, Wisconsin. She's part of the Habitat board now, helping others achieve the dream that she was able to accomplish, and to understand from a parent the impact that had on my daughter. I want to see that same impact spread across this community, and I know Habitat's supposed to make that happen.
community, I think it's so many people coming together, just different businesses, different walks of life coming together to work together to build something that's going to offer a safe place for a family, a place to call home for a family, which everyone, I feel, should have that feeling.
When I come here, I'm with a group of Christian women who enjoy being together. We support one another, we laugh together, we cry together, we teach each other about how to quilt, and we tell stories about where we started with our quilting. We like taking care of other people and making other people happy. And joy, I think, that we get to share, then we like to gift it to other people, so that they can also have some joy in what we make.
Good. My daughter, 18 years ago, was selected to be participant in a Habitat home, and I was able to help her build her home and see the impact it had upon her and her young son. She was a single mother at the time, and she still lives in a Habitat home in Madison, Wisconsin. She's part of the Habitat board now, helping others achieve the dream that she was able to accomplish, and to understand from a parent the impact that had on my daughter. I want to see that same impact spread across this community. And I know Habitat's supposed to make that happen.
with the community, I think it's so many people coming together, just different businesses, different walks of life coming together to work together to build something that's going to offer a safe place for a family, a place to call home for a family, which everyone, I feel, should have that feeling.
When I come here, I'm with a group of Christian women who enjoy being together. We support one another, we laugh together, we cry together, we teach each other about how to quilt, and we tell stories about where we started with our quilting. We like taking care of other people and making other people happy. And joy, I think, that we get to share, then we like to gift it to other people, well, so that they can also have some joy in what we make.
Good. My daughter, 18 years ago, was selected to be participant in a Habitat home, and I was able to help her build her home and see the impact it had upon her and her young son. She was a single mother at the time, and she still lives in a Habitat home in Madison, Wisconsin. She's part of the Habitat board now, helping others achieve the dream that she was able to accomplish. And to understand from a parent the impact that had on my daughter, I want to see that same impact spread across this community. And I know Habitat's supposed to make that happen.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Rick Nelson, Executive Director for Central Minnesota Habitat for Humanity. It's my pleasure to welcome you to our 10th annual Breakfast for Humanity. This year's breakfast is our first ever event brought to you virtually. Thanks for joining us. I'm here at home, enjoying a cup of coffee where I do most every morning. the place where we're all spending a lot of time these days, enjoying a cup of coffee on a brisk morning. And joining me, socially distanced from Rock Creek Coffee House, is Funwee Tita, our Development and Community Relations Director.
Hi, Rick. Hello, everyone, and welcome. Thank you so much for being here with us today. Although we are definitely missing seeing all of you face to face this year, we are grateful to the technology that allows us to be together today. I'm privileged to be serving with Central Minnesota Habitat for almost 2 years now, and I'm excited to be working with an organization whose values align with mine in ways that provide opportunity for hard-working families to access affordable home ownership.
As a Christian ministry, we like to give thanks to God. Please join me in a moment of prayer. Almighty and gracious God, we thank you for your work in our lives. We thank you for your providence, which cares for us and keeps us. We pray for people all over the world, people who hurt, people in need. And we thank you for the privilege of calling us to a particular place to serve and to be your people. Bless this time together now, that all we say, and especially all that we do as an organization, would bring glory to you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you, Rick. As we get started, I want to remind you, if you have pre-registered for today's event, please stop by one of our participating locations for a free coffee and pastry as our thank you for attending today's event. Anytime until noon today, bring the voucher included in your registration packet to Rock Creek Coffee House in Sauk Rapids, Flower and Flower in St. Joseph, or Cloud9 Energy Bowls in Wade Park.
Today, as we sit down together virtually to enjoy some breakfast, at least some coffee together, we're going to share with you some wonderful stories of impact from Habitat homebuyers and supporters of Central Minnesota Habitat for Humanity. And later, with the help of our friend and board member, Sister Pat Ruther, we'll be asking you to consider how you can support the mission we share of putting God's love into action by bringing people together to build homes and bright futures through affordable home ownership. The reality is that this mission has become much more challenging over the past 7 months, as you can imagine. And we need your help more than ever to be able to continue to provide something every single one of us needs today, a safe place to call home.
That's right, Rick. I know that in these last many months, my home has been a refuge for my family. In fact, it's become more than a home, which coincidentally is our theme for this year's Breakfast for Humanity. Our family's home has served as my office, my kids' classroom. As you know, many of us parents have to become teachers this year. Even it's a gym too, a movie theater, and a restaurant. And I know that beyond all that, our home is providing a safe place for all of us to grow and learn and thrive. The stories we're going to share with you today will show you just how Central Minnesota Habitat for Humanity, with your help, can provide the same opportunities to grow and learn and thrive for our neighbors. Our goal today is to raise $100,000 to continue to build homes and bright futures right here in Central Minnesota. And we're going to need the support and generosity of each and every one of you to get there. Before we get started, we would like to say thank you to a few of our top sponsors for their commitment to Habitat. Thank you to Bremer Bank, Farmers and Merchants State Bank, and Midwest Financial Partners. At a time when everything feels uncertain and we must all do things differently than before, you stepped up and helped make our largest fundraiser of the year, the Breakfast for Humanity, happen in a new way.
Thanks, Funwee. And now, a few logistics for you all as we kick off. As you navigate the event page, you're going to see that you can bid on items while watching the program. You can also see the donation tab. It looks like a gift box. And watch the total that we're raising climb. Bidding on auction items will close at 8 o'clock p.m. tonight, October 28th. So make sure you bid high and bid often. If you are the winning bidder, you will receive detailed instructions on how to get your items. And those of you participating from across the country, well, you can bid too. We'll ship your items to you. Stay tuned. We'll be telling you a bit more about these auction items later on in the program.
It's my first time with Habitat for Humanity. I've done other volunteer projects in the community, but this is the first time with this particular organization, and I'm really excited. Yeah, I definitely think that everybody deserves to have a place where they feel comfortable and can call their own. So I really like the idea that people are given that through these projects. It's not just walls and it's not just a house that we're building, but it is truly a place where they can actually call home and feel comfortable and safe and secure as a family. So I love that.
You've just heard from Jessica, one of our Build Site volunteers, about the joy she experiences working with Habitat, knowing that she's helping to create more than a home for a family in need. Now, for those of you who might not be familiar with Central Minnesota Habitat, let me introduce you to what we do. All because of the generosity of people like Jessica and like you, who give of their time and treasure and their talent as well. In partnership with Habitat for Humanity, local low-income families work to become homeowners through sweat equity and homeowner education on their way to purchasing their new home. When they've met all the requirements, we sell them an affordable home. And by affordable, we mean with a mortgage payment based on what they can afford to pay. These are members of our communities right here in central Minnesota who could not even dream of buying a home with conventional financing. Yet they become property and homeowners. They become taxpayers and customers of local businesses and neighbors thriving in our communities. Today we're sharing the story of Kate, one of our Habitat homebuyers. Kate is currently working toward home ownership for herself and her children, Lucy and Wyatt. Kate will purchase a safe, decent, affordable home after completing 200 hours of sweat equity and over 15 hours of home ownership education classes. This Habitat home will lay a foundation for Kate and for her family that no other program can, providing a hand up in her time of need and providing so much more than a home. Things like security and stability, safety, opportunity, and community. As you listen to Kate's story, I'd ask you to please consider how your gift can make a difference in her life and the lives of other local families.
So my daughter was walking the dog and she called me at work and said that she's inside now. The doors are locked and her and the dog are just sitting quietly in the living room. And there was all these unmarked vehicles and a van, and she's was scared because she said the cops are here, and I just, I calmed her down and said, okay, good. We're probably here to keep you safe and just stay inside. Don't let anybody in, And then, I called the one neighbor and she went down and looked too, and they were raiding one of the apartments in the complex, and it's just not an ideal place to have your kids and want that around them. And where we're living now is not where I want to spend the rest of my life. I don't want to live like this. So I grew up in northern Minnesota on the Iron Range. We lived up there until I was all the way through 6th grade, and then we moved down to the St. Cloud area. It was right after I had Lucy, so my oldest, and I moved to the cities because my mom moved down there and my mom's side of the family's all down there. And then I went to work with Subway, ended up working my way up to the shift lead, and then ended up having my own store.
But you ended up with your own store.
Yep.
What drives you?
I guess just hard work and the work ethic of that, and doing things like above and beyond more than anything. So they tell you to go wash the pans that they cook breads in, and I was trying to scrub them absolutely clean, and they're like, wow, that's really clean. Like, we never get them that clean. So there's those little things like that. I just did what I normally would do, and I just kind of worked my way up into the shift lead position and then offered my own store. So being a single mom and trying to juggle all of that and take care of 2 kids single-handedly, I just thought I need to further and better myself and better our situation, so I decided to go back to school. Working in a retail thing, it was double time working Thanksgiving and stuff like that. And did hit that point where I'm like, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not working these holidays. Like, it's just not worth it. Like, I need to be with them. So now, which is beneficial, is I don't have to now. We get all those holidays off. Just from the start of moving over there, the lack of the repairs, it grew into this mentality of, because it was an income-based place, because you weren't paying everything in rent, that you weren't enough to have properly working items, like the normal stuff. And I just hit that point and I thought, at this point, my toilet's leaking and it hasn't been for a year. I've brought this up numerous times. So finally, I just put in the forms and proper paperwork to get them replaced and brought them to court to do so. It was that bad feeling living like that. Not being able to have a normal working stove or toilet or any of that, and just feeling like less of a person because of it. Part of that is to like coming to acceptance that like you are somebody that is in need of something like that, because in my mind it's like you work hard and you should just be able to do these things on your own and not need that extra help, but it's not always that way. First of all is like the requirements to even get a home loan, like they are so high and hard to obtain, and I've been working really hard to get to that point to be able to do that as well, but even with those credit scores, it's like you need $20,000 down, and even after the COVID, prices of houses have like skyrocketed. It's been a long road, I guess. That was one of the best feelings I had, was when I first volunteered at the first home. I left feeling really good and knowing that I helped somebody else in their home.
We'll be checking back in with Kate later in the program to hear the rest of her story. What Kate has experienced is similar to many of the families we serve here in central Minnesota. These are families who are paying way too much for housing that is subpar at best and unsafe at worst. They're families who want to do better for themselves and their children and are willing to work hard to get there. Did you know that 44% of all Minnesota renters are paying more than they can afford for rent? And in Minnesota, 1 in 9 households spend half or more of their income on housing. That's just not sustainable for anyone.
That's right, Rick. Here at Habitat, we are proud to be part of the solution, which is affordable home ownership. For most buyers, home ownership leads to wealth and opportunity creation that pays dividends into future generations. Homeowners build equity, which can be used to continue their education or maybe even start a new business. Academic achievement and future success are much higher for children of homeowners than of renters. In fact, children of homeowners are 116% more likely to graduate from college. And Habitat homeowners report improvement in safety, health, education, family interaction, well-being, and economic situation. In fact, 92% of Habitat homeowners say their lives are better since they moved into their new home. I am really excited to share with you the second part of Kate's story. Remember that with your gift to Central Minnesota Habitat today, you can be part of her journey and that of other families who are on our Habitat home buyer waiting list. You can help them on their way to a very bright future.
If it wasn't for Habitat doing this, there would be no chance for a single mother or a couple without any financial resources to ever get into any decent home. The cost of construction today has doubled in the last 5 years.
Well, my grandpa, he has volunteered as long as I can remember in northern Minnesota on working on the homes, and he just always did that. And like after I had my kids, and so I just kind of, I guess that was planted there, and I tossed the idea around in my head a few different times, and then I finally thought, I've got to have something better than where we're at now. Why not apply and see what happens? The worst thing that can happen is I don't get picked, I don't get selected. Instead of having to have huge amount of monies down, it's you're having to do your sweat equity hours and doing the volunteer hours and getting out there and doing good for the community. That was one of the best feelings I had, was when I first volunteered at the first home. I left feeling really good, and knowing that I helped somebody else in their home and them being able to get in there, it was good. So my daughter, she's 12. Sometimes I feel like going on 20. Very, very big attitude and very determined. And then there's my son, who's just turned 10, and he's more of a soft, kind little soul and very sensitive too. They'll have just the space, they can just go outside and play. And a lot more storage space. I know a lot. Right now we're in the process, and the kids are helping, but we're using an old tabletop my mom got, and we're putting it together to build desks for them with the at-home schooling stuff. And we went there and they stained the tops of them. Like, we can't do those types of things where we're at now, so that will be another thing we can do together. And they watch your actions, and like, they pick up a lot from you and what every move you do. They can try new things, and if they fail, they fail, but they can always get up and do something else or keep trying. So if she goes into a mindset that, well, Mom got us into a house and did this, like, I can do that too. So it builds their confidence for their life too.
Kate, we're grateful to you for sharing your powerful story with us. We can't wait to see how your lives unfold as you purchase your Habitat home, and we're all rooting for you and Lucy and Wyatt as you make the transition into home ownership. It's now my privilege and pleasure to introduce Sister Pat Ruther. Sister Pat serves on the Central Minnesota Habitat Board of Directors. She's an amazing, hardworking, generous advocate for our organization and for the cause and for the people we serve. Sister Pat is joining us today from her home at St. Benedict's Monastery in St. Joseph. Sister Pat?
Thank you, Rick, and many thanks to all of you who have joined us virtually today. I'm honored to be here this morning to ask for your support. St. Benedict's Monastery, of which I'm a member, has been involved with Central Minnesota Habitat for about 15 years. Building community, the dignity of every person, and the sense of stability are values that we cherish and have in common with the work of Habitat. As a monastery, we don't build homes, but we can partner with faith-based organizations that build homes. I have seen firsthand what a difference having an affordable, safe home makes for a family and the local community. Home is a place where we connect as a family. It's a launch pad for our hopes and dreams. And over the last year, home has become so much more. In many cases, as Fun We has said, home has become the place where we live, work, and play, as well as a safe refuge from the very real threats of health and safety. It's become so much more than a home. If 2020 has taught us anything, it's that having a safe, decent, affordable place to call home is absolutely essential to our well-being. Last year, Central Minnesota Habitat celebrated 30 years and 100 homes built locally and 100 homes built abroad. 30 years of changing lives for the better. Today, we continue our mission of offering the safety and stability of home ownership to neighbors who could not afford it otherwise. This is all thanks to you. However, the reality is that this mission has become much more challenging over the past several months. Gathering restrictions hinder our volunteer workforce and staff interaction. The economy faces difficulties that drive up building material costs and interfere with availability. We're grateful that we can still do the work we've been called to do. But like many nonprofits, we struggle just the same. And now we've come to the most important part of today's program. As you know, Habitat for Humanity is a frontline organization providing something every single one of us needs today, a safe place to call home. Now is the time for us to all work together to bring that safety and security to families right here in our own community. Our goal today is to raise $100,000, which will be put to work right away here in central Minnesota. And the good news is that we are making significant headway toward our goal. We're pleased to announce that an anonymous donor has made a leadership gift of $15,000. Thank you so much for this very generous gift. And we also have a challenge gift in the works. The next 10 gifts of $1,000 each will be matched by Barb and Raleigh Anderson. Thank you so much, Barb and Raleigh. With these contributions, we are already well on our way to the $100,000 goal. But we need your support to bring this home. At a time when everything feels uncertain, we're asking you, our community of donors, to consider a gift of hope and opportunity. We're asking you to make a generous gift today, a gift of significance that will connect the next Central Minnesota family to their dream. Thank you for your friendship and support. God bless you for your generosity.
Thank you, Sister Pat. Your passion for the organization is unbounding, and the people we serve your love for them is so apparent. Thank you for sharing it with our viewers today. Please use the gift button on screen to make your tax-deductible donation at any time. Also, please know that gifts of all sizes are welcomed and deeply appreciated. Your gift is absolutely essential to this mission that we share, that everyone in central Minnesota has a decent, affordable place to live at a price they can afford.
It is a big challenge because right now I live in 2-bedroom. It's so close, so small, so I get right now good space. Me and my kids and my wife, we are very, very, very happy for that.
Funwe and I would like to take a moment to tell you just what your gift at any level can do.
For example, consider a gift of $5,000. $5,000 goes a long way on one of our Habitat builds. It can furnish a home with kitchen cabinets or provide maintenance-free siding for an entire home.
It takes a gift of $2,500 to supply windows for an entire Habitat home. Just $2,500 to bring sunshine and fresh breezes into a family's life.
Maybe you are considering a gift of $1,000. $1,000 covers the majority of the landscaping cost for a Habitat home build. That's right, you heard me right. Your gift of $1,000 can provide a green lawn for backyard barbecues and games of tag with the neighborhood kids.
And did you know that a gift of $500 puts paint on the walls of an entire Habitat home? A fresh coat of paint for a fresh start in life.
When a Habitat home build is finished, we hold a home dedication for the Habitat home buyers. Staff members, board members, and volunteers gathered in the new home and await the Habitat buyers' arrival. When they step in the front door of their new home, their eyes positively light up. Your gift of $250 can provide that front door for them to step in.
And last, but certainly not least, a gift of $100 outfits a Habitat volunteer with masks and work gloves and hammer and tool belt, everything they need to spread the love of God, working for and with our neighbors in need. As Funwe and I finish up our breakfast and coffee this morning, we're going to give you a moment to consider what part you can play in helping us reach that $100,000 goal. And more importantly, making a real, lasting, positive impact on local families. Now more than ever, we need your support to keep those hammers swinging and to bring home ownership within reach for local, low-income families. We're all living in a world that looks very different than it did just a year ago when we gathered for our last Breakfast for Humanity. More than ever before, we need to see the good in each other, to care deeply for our neighbors, to give generously where we can. This morning, we humbly ask you to make a gift that is significant to you. On behalf of all of us here at Central Minnesota Habitat for Humanity and the families who count on our services, thank you. As you think about how you will support this mission we share, we're going to take a quick break to hear from some of our wonderful volunteers and donors. And stay tuned. Those premier auction items are coming up next.
This is a part of Days of Caring, which Quinlivan & Hughes has supported for quite some time. I was really pleased to see that Habitat was the option or opportunity we got to participate in. A number of years ago, I was able to do a Habitat project with one of my daughters, and we still talk about it. It was a lot of fun spending an entire day helping to frame out a house and get it up and running. And I drive by that house all the time because it's such a great remembrance of helping somebody else and actually doing something. The work I'm in, you don't get to see the accomplishments, you don't get to visibly see them. This is one of those kinds of things where you get to see what you've done, and that's really rewarding.
Well, with the community, I think it's so many people coming together. Different businesses, different walks of life coming together to work together to build something that's going to offer a safe place for a family, a place to call home for a family, which everyone, I feel, should have that feeling.
Please know that whatever you choose to commit this morning, we truly appreciate your support. We also recognize that many of you have given and continue to give generously to our cause through gifts of both time and money. Thank you for your generosity, and on behalf of the lives you have touched and blessed, we are very grateful.
Thank you, Fun Wee. Before we hear about our premier auction items, let's thank our generous sponsors that have made our first ever virtual Breakfast for Humanity possible.
Thank you to our $2,500 sponsors: Bremer Bank, Farmers and Merchants State Bank, Midwest Financial Partners. And thank you to our $1,000 sponsors: Bank Vista, Bronson Electric, Clifton Larson Allen, DJ Bitson Jewelers, Jacobs Financial, Marco, Carpet One, Miller Properties, Northland Capital Financial Services, Quinlivan and Hughes, Schluchter Investment Advisors, Excel Energy, Tom and Andrea Brazel, Marie Elson, Tony and Joyce Tillemans, Todd and Kyoko Zahn.
Now, let's take a look at these premier auction items. We have some really unique, some fun items to share with you. Remember, you have until 8 p.m. tonight to bid. Please bid generously, bid often, and bid up.
First up, for all you foodies, we have a chef's table tasting dinner for two at Crew Restaurant in St. Joseph. Savor New Orleans heritage cuisine with a beautiful wine pairing in an intimate setting for two. Crew's head chefs, Mateo Macby and Aaron Lucas, will walk you through their diverse menu, perfect for those with an adventurous palate. Many thanks to Mateo and Aaron for donating this lovely dinner. Next, we are excited to offer a guided fishing trip for two on Mille Lacs Lake, donated by Steve Sapaniak and Jeff and Melinda Gow. This 8-hour full-day excursion will put you and a friend or family member in the expert hands of Predator Guide Service, where you'll be angling for the big lunkers, muskie or pike. This fishing trip is redeemable for the 2021 season and is non-transferable. Thank you again to Steve, Jeff, and Melinda for donating this memory-making adventure. And now we have a $1,000 Shields gift card up for bid. Whether you have kids constantly outgrowing their basketball shoes, you're looking for a new pair of cross-country skis, or grandma needs a new sweater, this is for you. Shields carries everything from sporting goods to hunting gear to clothing and even home and yard items. Thank you to St. Cloud Shields for this generous donation. The gift card can be used online or in-store. Up next is a wood-fired pizza party for 12 on the Mississippi River. Donated by Brian and Terry Hurd of Divine Pizza. Redeemable for summer 2021, this pizza party is truly not to be missed. Set in a beautifully landscaped piece of paradise along the banks of the Mississippi, your party will include appetizers, salad, ingredients to make your own gourmet wood-fired pizza, and dessert for up to 12 guests. Family and friends will love this opportunity to gather for a unique outdoor dining experience. So thanks, Brian and Terry. With the early snowfall we've had, you may already be thinking about decorating your home for the holidays. Let Emerald Companies take the task off your plate with their outdoor holiday lighting services. Thank you to Emerald Companies for donating their basic holiday lights package, which includes purchase of the lights, installation, and removal. And now, our final premier auction item, featured in our program this morning. Earlier this month, Kate, Lucy, and Wyatt met with local artist and art teacher Sarah Drake to learn, create, and share. Wyatt was thinking about Christmas in their new home. Lucy created 2 abstract pieces of their dog Buddy and cat Milo. And Kate? Well, she was thinking of a warm place. Their art is a gift from them to our auction to help another family have a bright future and a place that is more than a home. Bidding is now open.
What you've just seen are our premier auction items. We also have other silent auction items available at a wide variety of price points for you to consider. So make sure you take a good look at the auction page. And remember, bidding ends at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time tonight, Wednesday, October 28th.
Thank you, everyone, for making the 10th Annual Breakfast for Humanity a terrific success. If you know of someone, a friend, a coworker, a family member who would be inspired by the stories you heard here today, please pass on this link to the recording of this presentation. We can't wait to see you in person next year. In the meantime, we still have opportunities for socially distanced volunteering available. We'd love to see you out at one of our build sites. Thank you to each and every one of you for spending your morning with us, taking a little time out of your schedule, for your continued support of Central Minnesota Habitat for Humanity. Together, we are building more than a home for families right here in Central Minnesota.